our process is to scan and upload to a folder. Then we name the documents and then we upload them. And so when we looked at it before, it looked like the process was pretty much the same. It was just putting that scan somewhere else instead of where the file that we were putting out. So really what I'm interested in is what piece of this is going to save us a bunch of time.
Awesome. Yeah.
So,
I think,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Colin. You're good.
So in terms, and forgive me, Debbie, I don't remember. It sounds like it's been a little bit, but in terms of your process now, when you scan a document, you're talking about everything goes into the miscellaneous documents tab, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So a couple things that make it faster. So that's how everybody does it. Every customer we bring on or demo with, they do the exact same thing. So they either scan, they go to the copy, or they scan to their email or network location. They rename the file, right? It's saved, and they go to PCC, find the resident, right? Click miscellaneous documents, click upload, grab the file, categorize it, hit upload, and you do that repeat and was it rinse and repeat, right? Is that what it is? And you just keep doing that over and over, and not miserable if you're doing one or two, but when you're doing a lot, it's a pretty slow process. So high level, what ours does is when you scan a document, we'll set your scanners up. So instead of going to a network location, it'll come directly into this web app. From this web app, you just click the document and say, this one goes to this resident in this category. This one goes to this resident in this category, and it goes really quickly through them. So you don't need to rename the file. You don't have to save it. You don't have to go into PCC. You don't have to bounce around the charts. You just quickly go document by document, to do them really fast. It accepts any kind of scanner, any kind of printer, desktop scanner. It integrates with eFax. So if you guys are using eFax, when you send and receive faxes directly from here, there's no fee for that at all. If you're using eFax today, we set up an API so that you can send and receive inside of our app. And if you don't have eFax, obviously we can give you some recommendations, but that integration's in there as well. So the process, I can always tell everybody, if you're doing one or two, probably just easier to stay with PCC, right? Because you don't have to learn something new. But if you're doing a good amount, it's a much, much faster process. No longer saving documents, going into the chart, bouncing around, residents, any of that stuff. It's just an automatic process in here. So you scan a document, comes in here, and then you just quickly tell them where to go all in one. Average, I think, it's a couple seconds per document in here. So it's pretty fast. And I'm happy to walk through it with you. We could do a couple, or if there's something specific you wanted to see. I don't know if you remembered how it went and you wanted to, go over something specific, or I'm happy to do the whole thing, or you tell me how I can show this for you.
I would like to see what the process would look like.
Oh, okay, great. So I'm going to log in. Couple things about the app. It's a web app, so it works just like PCC. It is locked down to your facility's IP. You can have remote access if you want. There's a two-form authentication that you need to set up. We do single sign-on, so if you guys are using single sign-on, we can set that up for you as well, or you can manually create users and use our user manager in there as well. It is connected to PCC, so if you're when you do an admission, we're going to get that information automatically into our system. You don't have to update it at all. If you make changes to your categories or anything like that, it's all automatic. So you don't have to do anything other than you get a document in here, and then you quickly tell it where to go in the chart. I'm sorry, which resident chart. And basically what happens is whether you scan a document, I can drag and drop them. So, if someone emailed me a document, and let's say like I got a couple of them here, I can just drag and drop them right here. We'll also help you set up your scanners. So instead of it going to a network location or an email, it'll come directly in here, bypassing that whole step. It'll just show up right in here. Or you can have your eFax set up as well. So when someone receives an eFax, it'll come directly in here as well. And basically what you do is you just click one of these. I'm going to start with an easy one. This is just a single pager. And the 4 things you have to know when you're putting a document in, whether it's PCC or our app using to get into PCC, you need to know the resident, you need to know the category, the effective date, and a description. Those 4 things are over here to the right. So this top one is the effective date. By default, it'll always be today, but you can change it. These are my residents. Again, we pull these from PCC, so you don't have to update this at all. It has your actives, your discharges, and if you're doing CRM or waiting list, you'll have those in there as well. So I have last name, first name, D for discharge, A for active, N for new or waiting list pre-admission stuff, and then my resident ID. So I pick that. And then these are my categories. So everything in PCC today under miscellaneous documents, that's all of these. So I can scroll down or I could just start typing, whichever. So if I want to do a progress note. This last one here is the description. You can turn this feature on or off. I loved it when I was in medical records because I would have it name the category, or I'm sorry, the description, whatever the category was. And then I could just add it. I can add a date or whatever I wanted to put in there. And then I simply hit one of these 2 green buttons. Upload to PCC and return me to the homepage, or upload to PCC and then load up the next document. So if I'm trying to go really quickly through all my scans, I would do that one. I'm just going to hit that for now. And that's all you do. That document is on its way into the chart in PCC. We batch process ours. So every 15 seconds, a new job kicks off and it sends everything in there in the queue to PCC. So you just simply go in here, see your document, find your resident, right? Find your category. If you want to add anything, you can upload in homepage or upload in next. That's it. That document is on its way into the chart. So from the process that you were saying, right, none of that having to save, rename, go into PCC at all. You just simply get your document in here, pick your resident. If you want to change the effective date, you can, and then upload. So much, much faster than the traditional way we get documents into PCC. And that's just an example of like a single page going to a single resident. Where I loved it, I'm going to do this 12 pager here. This happened to me a ton, especially when you got my eFax plugged into here, because let's say I get an admission and the hospital would fax me over, the admission, all the documents. And they always sent me like 6 billion pages in one fax. And I had to separate them all out and then upload them to PCC. So what you can do is you can hit this scissor tool right here. And I'm going to take this one 12-page PDF and I'm going to split it into different sections. So I'm going to say Karina Bailey is pages 1 through 4. Then I can pick the same resident. Maybe it's a different resident. You can do whatever you want in here. And what I'm doing is I'm taking this one 12-page PDF and I'll pick a different resident here. And I'm going to split it up and send 3 documents into PCC. So when I hit upload or split, pages 1 through 4 are going here in this category, right? 5 through 8 go here, 9 through 12 are going here, split. And now I just sent 3 documents into the chart in PCC. So whether you scan it in bulk like that, I got pretty fast at doing the scissor tool. So I would scan 40, 50 pages and then run them through, or you get your eFax turned on. And again, we don't sell eFax numbers, whatever one you're using, as long as it's HIPAA compliant, we can make it so that you can send and receive faxes directly from here. You can see right here, this is an eFax. There's no charge to it whatsoever. So you can click this. Oh, that's from Dr. Parker. And I can pick my resident and my category, or I could use that scissor tool if I needed to split it up because they sent me a bunch of stuff. So the scissor tool is a really, really big time saver, especially when you get your fax turned on or when you're scanning a lot of documents. If you're trying to split them up or, whichever. The other thing that I really love, and this happened to me a ton, there's a maximum file size in PCC. So everybody's a little different. Somewhere between 5 and 25 megabytes, depending on your contract, is the maximum in there. I think the average is like 10 or 15. But if you're uploading a document today and it's too large for PCC, you'll go through the whole process and then it'll tell you at the very end, hey, Colin, sorry, but your PDF's too big, and you have to go out, try and shrink it or cut it into 2, PDFs and then upload them again. What our system will do is it won't do that at all. So let's say I pick this and I hit upload and this file's too large. it'll just accept that file no matter how big it is. And then what it'll do when it gets into the chart is it'll look something like this, one of, two, let's say if it had to split it in two pieces. So one of two and two of two right there, and as many as it needs to. There's no limit to it. I've seen it do 50 plus, one of 50, two of 50 when people are scanning entire charts. So that's a huge time saver there. The biggest being the scissor on average is about 10 to 15% of our documents use that scissor tool. And then the resizer or the splitter, what we call it, is about 10% of our documents. So it's like 1 in 4 the documents that come through our system are using one of those tools to make it even faster than just the traditional, using it in here. Again, you won't see this right here. You'll see it when it gets into the chart, but I like to type it so you can see it there, what it would look like. So whether you're scanning a single document, multiple pages that need to split it up, big ones. I just saw some stuff come through today for a new customer. They were paper last week and they're uploading all of their stuff and they're sending us like 500 megabyte PDFs. And so we're watching these things go through and splitting them up into a ton of, one of 20, one of 40. It's pretty fun to watch, just knowing that there's, now they're going paperless and it's such a great thing because you don't have to do that manually. We will try and reduce the file a little bit, but just know we'll never change the quality of it. There's nothing worse than getting a document into the chart and not being able to read it. So we will never change the quality of it. Sometimes scanners send us, kind of bloated files. So we'll try and compress it a little tiny bit, but we'll never, ever change that quality. That was a big thing for me. I never want to do that. So, just a couple little things in there. There's other stuff it's going to do if there's a blank page. Now, if it's completely blank, it'll delete it automatically. And I do have some options in here. If I'm looking at a document, I can, rotate or delete pages if I need to, some simple stuff. We try and keep it very minimal because we want it to be very fast, right? You get to the point where your editing is done, at the copier, let's say I'm just not putting the pages in I don't want, or I can delete them from here. Or let's say on this is 24 pages and I go, oh, I don't need that first page. I can delete it, or I can just do something like this where I go 2 through 24, right? And then I split it. So there's a million different ways you can use these little tools in here to make it even faster. So yeah, in terms of how you're doing it now, that's probably the bigger ones that I would say are the ones that really saved me a ton of time when I was doing it. So I can show you a couple more. Let me go through. Those are my
favorites. So they don't
favorites.
have to go into PCC at all.
Correct. Yeah, that's the greatest part. And when you're in PCC, you got to go resident, upload your document, and then search the next resident. You don't even do that at all. You just go pick my resident, pick my category, and I can do upload and next if I'm trying to go through them really fast. Okay, here's my next document, pick my resident, pick my category, upload and next, and I'm just quickly going through these things, really, really fast. Here's my next one, right? Boom, boom. And so it's a really, the whole system is built around giving you time back so you can care for your residents. So everything we do is about making it quicker and simpler. You never have to go into the chart. Because we use drop downs in here and don't let you free type, there's no mistakes, right? You can't put a wrong resident ID in there. You can't put a wrong category in there. You can only pick from what is available. So it never will have an error. The only thing I see is if there's ever downtime at PCC. Now their uptime in terms of like technical, fantastic. If you're using it during maybe a maintenance window, Sunday at 2 a.m. or whatever yours happens to be, you can keep using our system no matter what. And when their maintenance is over and their app comes back on, it just pushes all the documents through. Most people don't even realize there was an outage if they're using this because it'll push them through. We have a lot of I have a couple customers who do the processing, the indexing, like I'm showing you here in the Philippines. And so they're a whole different time zone. And so that came into effect a couple times when they would say, oh, PCC is down, but I can still use the app and to push document. And so it is really nice, very, very flexible in those kind of ways. Or, in the instant, maybe they're having some issues or something, it'll just keep working right through. So, in terms of fax, so what's really nice about it is, let's say this document here, let's say I need to fax this out and then put it in the chart, right? So many times a doctor would give me some notes, hey, you throw this in the chart, but fax it to my office first. From inside of here, I can click eFax. That top number is my number. Oops. I'm just gonna fax it to myself. And your version has an address book. The demo one just doesn't. You have a cover page in here, and I'll go Dr. Smith notes. No, that's right. And what I'm doing is I'm going to tell it to email me if there's a problem, and then I can either send eFax and delete or send eFax and send to PCC. So by doing that, I just queued up a fax to go out, then I pick my resident, pick my category, and boom, that document is on its way, as well as a fax is going out. And because we're using APIs with your existing eFax carrier, there's no charge for it at all. I highly recommend using the eFax if you guys are using it today. Specifically for me, when I was in MedRec, the inbound was a really nice thing because I didn't have to scan anything, right? Even if it comes to your email now, that's great, but it's one step better to even have it come directly in here. So the eFax is a really, really nice feature in there as well. And then I will get that fax in a minute. It'll show up in here and you can see, where it's coming from. It'll say eFax here in a second, and then it'll pop up in there. I'm going to kind of bounce around. So if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me, but I'm going to kind of jump around in here.
Can you generate, can you customize a face sheet to go with the eFax?
Yeah, so we'll help you make all the cover pages you want. And so let me go back in here. Depending on how your system is set up, so whatever eFax company you're using, the reason we usually help is because sometimes when you are using the APIs, there's a slightly different way they want us to build the cover pages. So in here, you can go add a cover page and you can have as many as you want in there. Like I said, we'll help you set all of those up. If they're already set up, then they'll just flow through. But sometimes, the APIs are a little different. All that to say, yeah, you can have as many as you want in there. I had 3 or 4 different ones I would use depending on where they were going. And we can set them all up for you and help you do that. Under residence, this considers like a log of everything you scanned, right? So the way our system works, we're going to send that document to PCC right away. Within 15 seconds, that's on its way. PCC is going to accept it. They're going to send us a code back, tell us everything's great. We're going to delete the PDF from our system at that point. There's no use in us keeping it. We just get rid of it at that point. But we will keep this log forever. So you'll be able to go in here at any time and I can look and see this is a chronological. So this is by date. I can see stuff that was scanned, years ago. I can see where it went, whose chart. I can see the employee that uploaded it. I can search it if I want. Maybe I was gone. Let's say I was gone today. I come back in, there I can search everything that was uploaded, where it went. And again, we keep these logs forever, so you can search at any time. This is my eFax log. So that fax I just sent to myself just went through. It's going to pop up in here. Let's see. There it is right there. So when I get a fax, it just comes right in, which is really nice as well. Under corporate, it's going to be how you manage. It's like your management console PCC. I can see all my locations. You can set it up in any way you want, where maybe you have regional people with a couple buildings and another one with different couple buildings. You can set it up however you want. They can see usage, where documents are going, how often they're using it, all of those things inside of the corporate tab. And then you also have a settings tab. Nothing glamorous in here, but this is the one I like to show. Training. So one thing that we know, this is all we do is post-acute. We know it's a higher turnover environment than the traditional one. So what we do in here, there's great training videos in here, right? So if you ever need, hey, I got a new employee and they need to know how to use it, there's some great videos in here. Or what I always tell people, click this schedule free training and you can pick a day and a time and they're going to jump on a call. So like the next one is tomorrow at 12:30 and you can pick a time, and training's always free. We never charge for it. So if you have a new med rec at a building or an assistant or something, they can click that, and training's always free in here. Pretty minor stuff in here. Under users, we do have a single sign-on option. So if you guys are using that, we can integrate with that. We can set it up to either create users, be your password manager, any part of it. Some of our customers use single sign-on for all of it. Some of us just compartmentalize it, but either way, however you set up your single sign-on, we just mirror that. Meaning, when you put someone in your system, whether it's your Active Directory or whatever, oops, I logged out. When you do that, it'll create accounts. for you, or you can tell it not to do that. You want to manually do it, which I'm not sure why you'd want to, but we do have some customers who like to do it manually. So, but they still use a single sign-on to sync passwords. So however you're using it today, you can do that. And then the support here, it's totally customizable to however your support is handled in your company. We create that page to mirror whatever yours is. So let's say you're like, hey, we want to do the support. We want to direct it to our IT. When you click that, we're going to have a page that's specifically set up for your buildings that says, here's how you get support, or we can handle the support, whatever parts you want. Some of our customers redirect all of their support to IT. Some of them have us do whatever parts of it support, but no password resets. And so that is set up exactly how you want it in there. Let's see. A couple other quick things I'll show you in here. Let's see. I'm going to go into a document. And so today we're scanning into PCC. So you take a document, you're putting in a residence chart, and you're pushing a document into PCC. We're also setting it up here. You'll see this HRIS tab where you can give this to a payroll employee, and it's going to scan documents to Kronos, UDP or ADP, UKG or ADP today. Those are the three big ones we have turned on. And we're going to do like Paylocity and Paycom starting in January, February. So you could give this to a payroll department and they could upload documents into an employee file. So there's nurse certifications, onboard documentation that they have in their hand. They could also use this to push that to your payroll app. You can separate it. So if I'm in payroll, I'm not going to see any resident. Like I would never see this tab if I'm in payroll, or if I'm in clinical, I'm not going to see this, and you can separate it, or you could have users that see both. So it just depends on how you set it up. That'll be coming out probably around December, January. David can give you more information on that as well. And then David mentioned you guys are using DocuSign, is that right?
No, no.
Oh.
Right now we're using Document Manager and PCC.
Uh-huh.
We're using that for the admission agreements, but
okay.
all of our consents right now are still on paper, and then we upload them because PCC doesn't really have something in it like DocuSign where they can, just sign it off on an iPad or whatever, and it's in the system. So I.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would like to see that.
Okay, yeah. So what's neat about DocuSign? So what you can do in here, I can put so when you create a DocuSign account, and you can have one global account, or you can have one for each of your buildings, however you want to set it up, and we can help you do it. DocuSign has a program called Power Forms. And what's really nice about Power Forms is you can take information from your resident. So like the name, the ID, anything that we have in PCC, and we can pre-fill that document out. Typically it's going to be census data. It's not going to get very, in the weeds on their care, but it'll be, name, date of birth, those kind of things. And so in this example, you see I have a couple documents here that I've created in DocuSign. And then I can go over here and I could say, I want to do an admission agreement for Karina Bailey. And I hit create document. And then it's going to push you out to DocuSign. And so this would be, I'm going to put, let's see, responsible party. I'll just put Joe Smith. Joe at, well, I'm going to put my email because I don't want something weird going out. And then, you could begin signing this. So at this point, you would either email this out, or if you have them in there on an iPad, this is going to pre-fill this form. So this is just a generic, form we use for in here, but you can see it pre-populates some of the information that I have in here, and then they can just quickly sign it. And if there's anything I need to fill out manually, I can do that. And then when I hit finish, it's going to, DocuSign will email that stuff out. So the signer gets a copy, you get notified it's done. And then within about, 30 seconds or so, it's going to flow right back into our app in here, under here. So let's see how fast it would. Okay, there it is. So you see that it came right from DocuSign, admission agreement just came through right here. And so what's nice about it is you never have to download it or anything. It just comes right back into our app when it's signed. And then you can do two things with it. I could either go in here, I can see the document, I could push it to the chart, or if I wanted to, I could go and have it automatically go into the chart. So I could bypass this whole step because I know the resident and the document. You can have them go right into the chart automatically, and I don't have to process them in here as well. So it's pretty customized based on how you use DocuSign, but we have a full integration with it so we can pre-fill forms for you. We can receive them back into our app and then even push them into the chart as well. And so that's an integration we have with DocuSign.
So basically, we would then have to have, each of our facilities would have a license for DocuSign and have DocuSign as an app. And then your app integrates with their app. Am I understanding that right?
It's really up to you how you do the licensing. I would imagine that DocuSign is going to prefer you do, but it's up to you how you do it. So as an example, my partner has 13 buildings, that he's had for years. He has a single license because we have, he would have one department that is in charge of admissions and they send them out. So there's only one DocuSign license. I think it runs about $40 a month. And then he'll send them out for all of his facilities there. They would all use the same account. I do have another customer, Alaris Life was using it and they had an account for each building. So it's really however up to you're doing it. I could see cases for both. I like the idea of not having to pay for $40 for every building if I have a lot of buildings. But sometimes there's a use case for it if you're using it for other things. Maybe I think they were using it for a bunch of other stuff. So they all had separate accounts. But I do have customers who just have a single account. And then when that document is processed, and you can have it inside of here. So like every ScanToPCC customer would have a DocuSign button. They could go in, whether they're facility A or facility B, and use the same DocuSign account to pre-fill the document. And then when it comes back in, because we know the resident that you picked, we know which facility it goes into, it'll come into their dashboard and not the wrong facilities. So whether you're using a unique account for each building or the same one for, if you have 10 buildings or 100 or whatever, it would know where to go based on those variables that we passed, like resident ID, facility ID, and stuff like that. So a couple ways you can set it up. DocuSign is pretty flexible. I don't know like the user license agreement part of it. I think it depends on how you're using it, which determine, if you need that extra thing. But I think to do the power forms, you need the middle account, which I believe is like $30 to $40 a month per account.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you can use it for everything, right? So whatever you're using it for, you can have 1,000 documents in there. Maybe you're still using some of them we pre-fill, some of them we don't, however you want to do it. It's a pretty powerful app. What I love about, Document Manager and PCC is good, but what's nice about DocuSign is everybody's super familiar with it because they're signing things at the doctor's office with it. They're signing, when they're buying a car, it's really easy. So everybody's super familiar with it. That is a nice part.
So when you say it will fill in the forms, do you have to tell it what to fill it in with? And
yeah. So go ahead.
So I'm coming from how we do it in Document Manager. Somebody has to set up the form and tell what fields need to fill with what.
Correct. Yeah. So we would do that with you. You can either do it yourself or we can do it for you. It's pretty easy. There's a module inside of DocuSign called Power Forms. Inside of Power Forms, you basically are just dragging a field and say resident name goes there. You're dragging a field saying admit date goes there. And it's a really fast process. You do it one time. And then you can share that form with all your buildings or, create ones unique for each building, however you want to do it. But yeah, it's very similar in that instance, how you would set it up. And we're happy to help you do it. It's pretty fast. The team here is pretty good at it.
Okay. And so this is in no way a storage place. Did I hear you say that once you get it uploaded to PCC, you can go ahead and delete it?
Once I pick a resident, so in this one here, so let's say I'm doing this document here. I'm going to click the document. It's going to open. I'm going to pick my resident. I'm going to pick my category and hit upload. it's going to disappear from here. It was right in between these two. So it's gone from here. It is on its way to PCC. As soon as PCC accepts it, which is usually within 30 seconds, they send us a code back and then that PDF is gone. As soon as we get that confirmation everything's good, we delete it right there. There's
It
also
auto
a feed.
deletes.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We want to make
Okay.
sure it's gone right away. There's also a feature in here that I love is the data retention. So you can set this up however you want. But the goal, just like you said, this is not for long-term storage. This is a quick pass through. So there's alerting in here if a document sits too long. You can set it up to be a day, a week, a month, whatever. And what's going to happen is I have mine set up for a week. On the 7th day, it's going to email all the users in the building and it's going to say, hey, users, there's a document that's been in here for, greater than your data retention time. Please move it to PCC. And it'll do that every day for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, it's going to send that same alert. We'll identify people that are be like an account overseer or a corporate user, and it would send them as well. Our goal is to have no document stay in here longer than it should be. Ideally, they should be out of here the same day they're put in. Sometimes people scan stuff and they get busy and they come back the next day, but you can set this up so that it will warn you if documents sitting there too long because, right, the document does you no good if it's not in the chart. You want to make sure that thing
Right.
gets passed through and gets in there. And so the data retention is a powerful tool for that. The demo one, the shortest you can do is a week, but the live one you can do 2 days, 3 days, I think every day, 7 days, 14 days, and so on. That's a really great one. So
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, are there any other questions that you might have for us, Debbie, before we kind of move on?
What happens if the resident is waitlisted?
If they're on the waiting list, so if you put someone in and they're on the waiting list under residents, they'll have an end status right here. And when you pick them, it's going to go into their chart. There's a documents tab there. And then when they admit, that document will be there as well. We have a couple people who use it. Not everybody does the waiting list part, but you can turn it on so that you can see it. Some customers just keep the document in the dashboard until they're admitted. It's personal preference, really. I'd rather get it in the chart.
Yeah.
But some of them do it that way. Some of them, there's a button we turn on in the back that says, we want to use new status, which is new status is your waiting list or the CRM, which is like the marketing module, which I don't know if too many people are familiar with, or anything
Yep.
pre-admission. That would all be your end status kind of jumbled together there.
Okay.
Yeah. What's funny is that more and more people using that these days. Less than, when we first started several years ago, there wasn't many using new status. It seems like there's a lot more using it now.
Yeah, they wait list a lot of people.
It's the way to do it because, technically at the building, they are waitlisting them. They're just putting it on paper or something, right? There is a waiting list somewhere. It's just nice when it's in PCC.
So you can set this up then by facilities. Can they be sorted into regions and divisions?
Yeah, there's multiple ways you can do it. So you're going to have, just like PCC, you're going to have all your buildings up here, right? So if I have access to multiple, I'm going to click that. And then under corporate, this is going to show all my buildings. So if you have a regional person, maybe we both have 10 buildings, but they're 10 different buildings. When you click it, you're going to see your 10. When I click it, I'm going to see my 10. And then I can see what's going on. And maybe you have a regional person who has 30 and you just set them up that way. And
is that set up at the user level or the corporate level? To say Nancy Nurse has these 5 buildings.
It depends on how, are you guys using single sign on there?
Yes.
So it depends on how that's set up. Yeah. So what we typically do is we try and learn if your single sign on gives us indicators of the regional. If it does, we
Oh,
will
okay.
use that. If it doesn't, it's a manual thing you do in here.
Okay.
Ideally,
Okay.
if you can do single sign-on, it's way better.
Okay. Well, I see a lot of difference than when we looked at it in 2022. A big
Wow,
one
it's
for us,
that
of
long
course,
ago,
is
huh?
this. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big thing for us for single sign-on, so that's
Yeah.
good too. Um,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
a
I can
big
see
one.
where it would save time. I'll tell you what I was hoping to see, and I guess I'm probably just dreaming, but what I dislike about PCC's miscellaneous tab is that when I create a chart for a record release, it puts all the PCC records, except for the miscellaneous tab, all in one big PDF. And then if they have, let's say, 85 miscellaneous tab uploads, it produces 85 separate PDF files.
Yeah.
Someday I hope that they will do something about that, but I'm not holding my breath.
One of the things we're actually building, it's funny you mentioned that. One of the apps that we're building, and we just got it approved by PCC, is what we're calling the quick discharge. And it's very similar to what you're saying, but you can set it up. And so basically you create different, document request types or discharges, and you say, this is the record request and go get these items, and it will go get those documents and put them all together for you. So we are building that. We're like probably 6 months away. We just got it approved by PCC. They put us on a waiting list for a while because they were going to build it. And then they finally told us about a month ago, we just aren't going to go ahead and do it. And so it's called quick discharge, but I think we're going to rename it because of the record request, because it's both things, right? Whether you're discharging or you're just getting record requests.
Right.
And there's like, I need the last, UDA, these UDAs, I need these things, I need this, and you hit it and it quickly puts it together in a single PDF. If anything's missing, it gives you a list of what's missing so you could put it in there, and then it just quickly puts it all together for you. We are just, like I said, we just got it approved. We've been building prototypes for a while, but it's probably about 6 months out. Keep in contact with David, because when it comes out, if you guys want to help us test it, we're going to need a lot of people to really make sure that works, but it would do exactly like you're saying.
Oh, I would love to test something like that, because I would say that that's the one place where I have kind of a burr in my saddle with PCC, is that miscellaneous tab and how it prints out for releases.
Yeah. Yeah. So
because
that's
the
really
person who's requesting records, they don't want 90 files. They want the record.
Yeah. Well, and that's just a record request. So now you take, a 911 discharge, and it's like, trying to put all this together, and it's just so stressful. I remember that being like super stressful. So we were excited to build this one. Um, it's going to be nice. And like I said, PCC was going to do it. I think with all of they're moving more and focusing on AI for a couple years. So they're really doing that. That's a
Yeah.
big one that they're doing. So they've actually opened up a couple things. We just finished a triple check app. So the same thing. We're the only triple check app out there. They let us do it. And then the easy
Wow.
discharge is going to be a neat one. Yeah. The triple check it's amazing. It's a game changer. And maybe David can send you some information on it and some marketing stuff, but
Okay.
it's really cool. They are still looking for it, just finished everything. So they are looking for people to test it. If you want to try it, I would highly recommend it. They'll give it to you for free for a couple of months while you're helping test it, but it is awesome. It's really cool. I mean, it's taken like 4 hours, 3 hour triple checks and taking them down to minutes. And it does it in real time throughout the month. So you can be prepared in advance for all these things. Plus it integrates with Scan too. So if you're scanning stuff, it's a really neat tool.
Wow. That
Yeah.
sounds promising.
That one is going to be neat. I really, really like that one. Definitely a next level of stuff, right? So, that's our goal. Everything we build is trying to save you time. It's not to get more stuff for you to do. It's to save you time so you can care for your residents, right? And that's our goal.
Well, and I like the fact that you guys are not primarily involved with acute care, but just dabble in sniff. I mean, you guys are
Oh
in
yeah,
post-acute care, and I like that.
that's all
So
we'll
many
ever do.
times we're, yeah, sometimes we're the ugly little stepsister, aren't we?
And that's exactly right. So I was a CIO for skilled healthcare. We had 100 something building, a great company, but so many times that's what it was. Is you were like, oh, we get the scraps from the acute setting, and so when we built this
Mhm.
company years ago, we said, no, we're only going to do post acute. That's what we love. That's what we came from, and everybody here has worked in a building and they know it, and that's all we do. Acute is great, but it's night and day different from what we do. So
Oh
you
yeah,
can't cross that easily. So yeah,
yeah.
I love that too. And it's great that you picked that out too, because that's important to us. We've had people say, hey, can you make this work with Epic? And no, it's not my desire. So they got enough stuff going on. We want to focus on our industry.
Okay. Well, my next step, as I was explaining to David, I'm not the decision maker, but I'm the director of health information management. So, what I will do next is I will then take this to my boss, who then will take it to our project managers in IT, and we'll see if we can't get something set up for our whole clinical and IT team to take a look at it. And
Hmm.
then we may have, like the IT folks, they'll have techie questions to ask you and stuff. But because I do like what I see better this time than when we looked at it in 2022.
I'm trying to remember what we were doing in 2022. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
But it's changed a lot. And the cool thing about it, it's built so I would never tell you to do this, but there's like the feature requests and all the apps, and they say, hey, give us your feedback. We're going to put it on the board and build it. We
Sure.
have this in here and people use this every day. And the day you put something in, we'll reply. We'll let you know how long it's going to take, if we're going to put it in, if we're not going to put it in. Typically, updates are within 30 days, they're in the system. And it just evolves greater. And like we had 2 or 3 that they put in like 2 weeks ago that'll go in this coming weekend. Just little tiny tweaks that someone wanted. And so it's continually evolving. It's going to stay about being fast, not too many features, but it'll continue to evolve just to make it easier for us. So that is a great thing about it. We do get a lot of feedback. The reason I think we do is because when you fill this out, you get a free Starbucks card. So everybody knows they
Ah,
can get free coffee from us, but they give us some really good suggestions. I won't say it's only that, but
so how
awesome.
many facilities do you have your product in?
We're over I don't know the exact number. We're over 1,000. We have probably about 500 coming on. Um, so yeah, it's coming on to 2,000 probably by the end of the year about.
Okay.
And that's this one product. This is one of several we have. So that's
Okay.
just the scan app.
Okay. Well, first thing I'll do is I'll show this recording to my boss and see what he says. But I can see where it can save us time. We've just come out of having 2 facilities that their HIMs just did not upload for a very, very, very long time. So
Mhm.
we had a huge project to scan and label and upload um, thousands of documents. So, in thinking, having just done that, I can see where this would save time.
It does. Like I've had a lot of buildings. In fact, we had one. We're in Orange County, California, and we had one in San Diego sign up, and they were paper based. And we went down and helped them, and within a week, they were completely electronic. We had a bunch of people scanning, so you can set it up. So let's say, we're both in the same building. I don't have to give everybody access to it. I can just make every scanner available so your nurses can scan at the nurse stations, but only me and medical records. I'm the one that does the processing, the indexing, and sending. So there's a million ways to set it up, but I've seen people go from paper to electronic in a week in a good sized building, 150 bed. that fast because you can. This one was funny. They brought their kids in, and the kids were just scanning stuff left and right. And then, then someone in
Oh.
med rec with the wisdom, right? And they'll do this process, and it went great. So it's a really fast process.
Well, as a privacy officer, I wouldn't let the children come in and help with that. Just saying.
Yeah, it wasn't my building. I just came in and watched them do it. It was really a fun thing to see everybody do it, and it was neat. It just was fast. It happened really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate your time today. I like what I'm seeing. We'll see what we can do on our side.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I'll make sure I share some more information, kind of next steps. We'll work to get the team, up to speed and hopefully on another demo to walk through and answer any questions that you guys have. And I think it would be awesome too to loop in some of these facilities that, we've already demoed with. I know Carolyn Kang's one that, really stands out to me. Her and her team, couple decades of experience after reviewing it, were just giving us some really awesome feedback. So I think looping them into the conversation would be awesome as well. But anything we can do to support, if there's any additional questions that, pop up in the next few days or week as we kind of roll this out with you, we're excited to support in any way that we can. So thank you for taking the time, and I'll make sure I follow up with some more, additional information for you and a clip of this recording as well, so you can share that with your team.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Have a good week.
Awesome. Thank you,
you.
Debbie. You as well. All right, bye.